government, we are focused on effective service delivery to our people, and we understand the importance of training as a way of improving staff efficiency. We know that the need of expand the knowledge base of the staff is necessary in order to achieve a smooth work environment and to deliver good governance to our people. In our 2 years of service, we have established a very good working relationship with the workers in the council, and the relationship has a result in our delivery of quality projects that directly impacted the well-being of our people. I want to add that this seminar in timely and resource personnel are distinguished professors who have taken time to prepare materials that will add to our knowledge and improve our individual capacity. As we take those 2 days to learn, I am confident that this seminar will further enhance our productivity. I wish us all memorable study. Thanks and God bless.
Please put your hands together for the chairman for that wonderful address. This time we have...
Good morning, the executive chairman of Asaiton local government. I call him the capacity, and you all call him the same, isn't it? Yes. So, and then the vice chairman, who is beautifully seated here, all the members of the high table, staff of Asaiton local government, esteemed staff of Asaiton local government, ladies and gentlemen. I am very happy to be amongst you today. Reason being that when good things happen, it is good to be where good things are happening. So I'm proud to be amongst you here because this workshop is apt. There is decadence in the society now, and a lot of persons, don't follow the laid down rules. And for your chairman to first of all, you are aware that I was in Asaiton local government area to represent the governor when he built the staff quarters, yes, for staff. So I think he's doing a lot for the staff, and you owe him quite a lot too. This workshop I said is apt because it is on personal effectiveness skills and work ethics. Personal effectiveness skills and work ethics. I think we cannot overflow this issue. A lot of us don't know that for you to be a civil servant, you have to go back to the service regulations. And the local government system has local government service rules. So you follow the rules. Most of us don't follow these rules. And for the local government chairman to think that it is important at this time to bring that to the fore, I must commend this chairman. Because without knowing the ethics, you go wrong in most things you're doing. So I want to implore that this seminar, there are a lot of topics lined up here, and the topics are very beautiful. It's just that I don't have time. I would have loved to sit and listen to all of these topics because they said no knowledge gained is lost. You cannot, when your local government chairman trains you or your boss trains you, he can't take away your knowledge that you have gained. So I really am very happy that today we sit amongst you to celebrate this man that has thought of you to do this great thing for you, because nobody can take away the knowledge you gained today. So on that note, I want to say that I would like to come to Asaiton local government again to see if you have put what your taught today into practice. I hope you are glad with that. So on behalf of the ministry, I want to declare this workshop open in the name of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit.
Please put your hands together for money for that wonderful declaration. The workshop has been declared open by
Permanent Secretary of our relevant ministry, the Executive Chairman of our local government and other distinguished personalities on the high table, and my friends at the other side of the table. Well, we in Eurocard Consult, I would say that we try as much as possible to work, and we are also not looking for work, but we work when it is necessary. Well, I know that we are starting a little bit behind schedule, so all the speeches I'm going to make will be embedded in the lectures or the discussion, because I don't look at them as lectures. It's discussion of what we are going to have throughout this 48 hours family meeting, I'll call it. So as part of the introduction, I will say that in our midst, or those that will deliver the package or that will lead the discussion, we start with Professor Ibama Hamilton, who incidentally is the chairman of the consult, Professor Hamilton. And we also have in the group our son, Professor Karibo Bach. All the things that we have seen here, a mother in the team, in the person of Associate Professor Judy Pat Obiola. She is going to tell us what it takes to be member of the family, which we believe that at the end of this workshop, that all of us sitting here, we see ourselves as members of the same family, and not just people working in Asarito Local Government Council. Then we also have our administrative manager that directs us as to what we should do and what we should not do, that is sitting at the end there in the person of Mary Jackson. If you say we should stop, we will just stop. So Mary Jackson, please. Accra, Georgia. I already have the chairman, as we all know, that chief executives are always our major resource or problem of resource is time. But I think I will plead with our able chairman to just give us 30-45 minutes to tell us why we think we are here, if she acknowledges or obliges that. Just 30-45 minutes. But I don't know other schedules. Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to take that lead. Mike. But that will conclude why exactly we are here. Of those individuals. And when the council consulted the test in the desert of ignorance, and I'm sure that will not be the portion of members of Asarito Local Government Council. We will never die in the desert of ignorance. Benefits and also make us work to meet the objectives for which the local government council or local government area was established. And for us to do that, as Don Risky will tell us, you have to think of things not as they are, not with what we experienced yesterday, not with what we have met, let me say, from the first time this morning that we enter this place, that we now want to see ourselves as members of the same family. But rather, we should be able to think as, creative factors, not mere dreamers. We don't want to dream what the local government objectives or how to achieve the local government objectives should be, or what our contributions should be. We have to be creative. We have to think strategically. And Joseph Sugarman concluded it all by saying that each problem has within it an opportunity, and the greatest success stories were created by people who is to be found in their industriousness. How do you assess yourself? Are you industrious? Do you know what to do and when to do it? How do you apply those things you know that you know how to do? And how do you preserve? And as Mark Twain will say, how do you do this? Under the prompting, brave, and determined spirit. Because as we are going to find in state in what we do in Asarito local government. And we are saying that the only way, the only true measure of this success will be in the ratio of our ability to know what we might have done in the past and what we want to do in the present. At the end of today, what have you decided when comparing, when benchmarking what you have done in the past as to what you want to do after now? And Maxwell concluded all by saying, and I'm telling each and every one of us, that sometimes you win, sometimes you learn to lose. I didn't say you lose, you learn to lose. But know that winning is not everything, but learning is everything. And that is why we are here. What can we learn out of our situation? We are saying that as human beings, we are not perfect persons. We are, given birth by different, human beings. But one common thing which each and every one of us that is here is that as human beings, we have some convertible competencies. There are certain things we are born with. And it depends on how you are able to convert these things that will make you to either contribute or destroy what is happening in Asarito local government. Because in life, we say, some people make things to happen. Some people are there to destroy what is happening. There are also some other groups of people that are there just to watch what is happening. But we are saying, what you do as a member of this council will depend on how you are able to convert what you are born with. Every human being here, as we say, you are born with skills, you are born with knowledge, you are born with abilities, and you are born with some degree of awareness. So any person who knows that he doesn't have these properties when he was born, then is not likely to fit to be a member of this our local government council. And we're also saying that these skills, knowledge, abilities, and awareness, which some people in academics will call competencies, they can come in form of general competence, which means something you can apply across the board, just as we are discussing. there are certain things we are going to discuss or certain issues we are going to mention that can be applied across the board. And there are other ones that are specialized, especially for the nature of where we are working. But whatever it is, we are saying that every member must try as much as possible to ensure that he or she is seen as a human capital. The time we see ourselves, or people perceive ourselves, we are saying at the end of this 2 days living, that you should be able to develop such, potentials in you. Because when you do that, you add value to Asarito local government. And when that happens, there is productive enhancement within the local government council. All this may be, but how do we collectively, either as former or either as present or former members of the local government council, to enhance what happens in Asarito local government council? And we also know that in every situation you find yourself, in every human organization you find yourself, there is what we assess as goal attainment and also workplace effectiveness. There is no local government or there is no workplace that doesn't have objectives. I don't need to tell you what the objectives of your local government is. We assume, because for you to be employed into the local government council, you should be able to know what you are there to do, what objectives you are there to contribute. And that is exactly our focus of our discussion in the 2 days we are going to, that one can convert into productive ventures. And to what extent is local government providing money? Because everything is centered on finance. Like we are coming here, we are not here to drink my mind. Something has gone in. There must be some level of financial or monetary commitment. There has to be some level of materials that one must use. And also, to what extent that we say we have machines that will enable us to do our job. Some of the things we are going to mention here, or we are mentioning here, may be the responsibility of not just the local government chairman, maybe even a federal, will I say, responsibility. Because if the thing doesn't come from the federal, there's nothing you can do at the local government level. And the extent to which those are the states that gets this thing before it gets to the local government are able to appropriate this thing also count for the extent of what we will expect in our local government council. We also know that the objectives we have as members of Asarito local government council, some of them may be primary. That is to say, there are things that will affect the entire council. If we are able to do them to achieve them, then everybody in the local government council will benefit. There are also some that we see as secondary, as specific, which is to say in different departments. There are things, we have assignments, and when you are able to accomplish those assignments, every member within that department will benefit. Therefore, we will not say, in Department A, that this is what they are enjoying, while in Department K, nothing is happening. So you should be able to know that the objectives can be primary or specific. So you don't jealous a man who is in maybe works department or someone who is in a security department. I'm surprised. And when they gave us the list, I didn't see anybody from security. I don't know whether they are part of admin, people, but I know that security is the fundamental, the basic of all that we do, irrespective of the department we are, talking about. I'm not talking about or are likely to be. You should also be able to know that there are two other things that will influence the extent to which these formal roles or systems are accomplished. One is the group, or what we call the social system, the group where you come from, the type of churches you attend, or the groups you belong to, either within or outside the organization. They will influence the way you apply your personal effectiveness skills and work ethics. Like maybe, take say a gate man. For him, as far as he's concerned, that executive chairman is my wife. And that type of system you cannot break up. Or my brother, my mother, brother, you cannot erase them. They will influence the way you discharge your destiny. Then we also know the one we call the individual system. As we are here as different persons, 71 persons or thereabout, excluding the chairman and her entourage, we have different ways of behaving. And if you are the chairman, if you are the supervisor, if you are living as a member of the local government council, you should be able to know that you as individual, your own behavior, what you are, will definitely influence what the implementation of the personal skills or the extent to which you conform to work ethics within the local government. The one thing that is important to all of us here, from the chair down this way, is that we should be able to know that there are likely to be differences in these three subsystems, these three sets of human beings that we are likely to have in the local government. And when that happens, there will be need for us to find a way to modify. We have to look for a way to modify. We don't just allow people to behave the way they want. There are models of element of modification, which will come also from the personality of those who are supervisors or whom we refer to as leader managers within their departments, and also how the executive chairman is able to modify these differences to ensure that at the end of the day that we are not only efficient, but we are also going to be very effective, by which we mean not wasting the resources of the local government. And sometimes you may not just modify, you can also integrate, that bring together the differentiated efforts of people in order to ensure that we move the local government forward. But whether you are modifying or you are integrating, the important thing is that we must deploy what we have decided. And that is the responsibility of those who are in charge in managing the affairs of others. Like when we came here yesterday, we were saying, the place is not this one and that one. What is the chairman doing? It is not the chairman's work to come and arrange this place. It's not the chairman's job to come and arrange what information should be given. It's not the chairman's job to come and see, is this place secured to bring 71 persons from the local government to this place. Someone can decide to close this local government by sending all of us to the grave. Just with one thing, everybody is gone. And there was nothing like Asariko local government, council. Maybe you start building another district. The security people do what they are supposed to do. It is not the responsibility, as I'm saying, of what the chairman should do. We are all collectively responsible. And we cannot all be, boss or bosses at one time. People have different responsibilities, but we owe an obligation to be part of the system. So what are these personal effectiveness skills that we are interested in the local government? People must have technical skill especially the operatives, the small people. I don't know how many of you that are here. And this has to do with the ability to follow procedures, just like the chairman of this, capacity building workshop did say. To what extent do you know the procedures you want to follow? What techniques are you likely to adopt? What knowledge are you likely to show at the end of the day? Are you just seeing yourself as, I'm talking about for the operatives, and my own is to go, anything they tell me to do, I do. The one they didn't tell me, I will not do. We are saying no. You must have your technical skills, your ability to do for whatever thing that you are employed for in your local government. There is also the idea of human relations skills. Because in the organization, you are not alone. In the local government council, you are not alone. You relate with others. And if you don't know how to relate with others, especially those who are at the supervisory level, then we may not be able to achieve the objectives for how do we relate with others. And anything you are doing must be in line with societal expectations. So you need to develop these human relational skills. So when we talk about personal effectiveness skills, we are looking at not just you as a person, but the personality will consist of technical skills, human relational skills, and conceptual skills. Conceptual skills here relates to the ability to know how to do something in a unique way. There's no human being that doesn't have how to do things in a unique way. Even the way you walk today may not be the way you walk tomorrow. You see some people walking normally, what we used to know. But I'm using walking, just trekking as an example. At another time, if you allow people to know the way you walk at every point in time, you may not be able to excel. Sometimes you need to change the way you walk, even at the place of work. Try as much as possible to have something that is unique to you. Someone will now say, this way this person is behaving now is the way Mr. B or Mrs. C used to behave. Not that you work in the local government for 35 years, nobody can say, this is the way, John Mark used to do things. You must have a unique way. And some of these things we are saying is something nobody will tell you or teach you how to do it. It is you that will develop it among yourself. But what you want to go out or go with is that irrespective of position you are working, you need your technical skills, you need your human skills, and you need your conceptual skills. From what I got from your local government, I know there are some people who can refer to as first-line supervisors, that those who are responsible for supervising the work of the operatives. They will go to them, that is those at the shop floor, under the, those people that don't have title, you just want to work on daily basis. I don't know whether they're here. So we also have those that we refer to as the middle level administrators, those who supervise the functions or responsibilities of those who are first line supervisors. And we also have the top level managers charged with the duty of establishing policies and guidelines for all interactions within the local government as both those who are political appointees and those who are career civil servants. So we are saying that with what we have explained so far, we'll be able to come to the conclusion that in every local government, there are some years ago, is not what the local government is all about. So what are those new ways to order the idea of of work. What are the visions, the need for vision? Because vision simply means the ability to, forecast the future. Take a picture of where you want to be in due course. Are you the type of staff or administrator or supervisor that want to be in the local government without thinking of where you think the local government should be in due course? You want to remain with what you are and how you are without having a vision. Because one person's vision can turn the entire local government. It may not be that, let's all of us sit together, what is our vision? It's not possible. It might be one person's thinking that can lead to a change in vision. The ethics, what are those rules that we must abide with, that are socially, that meet social realities, or what we might say society expects from us? Are we going to ignore the fact that members of Asarito local government area, members of the community, don't expect something from the council? So what are those things? So there are a lot of diversities that we face, and we don't use the word culture to tie all of them. There is need for us to have vision. There is need for us to, understand our ethics, and also there is need for us to be responsive. That is respect, irrespective of whatever diversity we find ourselves. And we are saying that in life, before now, we say I before others, but today is others before me. So we are moving from what we refer to as social action from human action to social action. You should think of how to, please or meet with the expectations of members of their role set before you think of yourself. If you are just thinking of yourself and avoiding or ignoring social actions, then you are not likely to be effective in the application of your personal effectiveness skills and work ethics. You have to think of others before you think of yourself. It's a very difficult thing, but that is the in-way society or human organizations are going. Then there is also this idea of coupling visible and invisible spirit of management. There are a lot of things that happens in your local government that you are thinking that is what you are seeing that is leading to the decision. The answer may be no. My chairman, with apologies, I know your wife is a very good woman, but if in the morning she happens to give him heat before he comes to the office, that heat must always be transferred. And the man said, why is chairman chair, supervisor, HPL, all those you are finding, nomenclatures in him. Why now? What did I do? It may be by that time he has come back to his senses. We can sit down and talk as members of the same family. Because at the end of this meeting, one thing we want to establish with my colleague may discuss with you is that we are going to see, or we want to see, Asarito local government as a family. And that is to suggest that in a family, you can't reject someone because he's bad. You will protect him first. That is outside you. Then inwardly you can tell the person, look, this is what you are doing. You are disgracing, the name of or the image of our family. We'll be able to build that at the end of all the things we are doing. And we are saying, in doing that, we should be conscious of the fact that there are visible and invisible spirits of money. There are a lot of things you cannot see. In fact, the invisible spirits are more. You can go to government house and he's coming back. The governor is giving him a bang on his head. And as he's driving in, the first person that he will meet, they receive the pressure. You can never say. Or the chairman of the party, don't know the influence they have. The bank they have. The same thing with you. We are not saying just the chairman. you may also pass through the same lesson. And all supervisors should be able to know that when they see their worker behaving in a way that is not the usual way this human being behave, they should be able to know that there must be something, wrong, and try to find that thing wrong, or that thing that is wrong. So we're also saying that what we want to do in this our 2 days meeting, therefore, is to create a character and attitude. We want to create a character. When it comes to this is the character of Asarator Local Government Council, not you wearing different, character or attitude. But to do that as Africans, we want to remind ourselves that a chameleon may change its color, but it does not change its nature. There are some of you, no, not people here, all of you are very good people. There are some people that whatever thing you do, they cannot change from what they are. As managers, as colleagues, you should be able to understand such people. Don't destroy them. Try as much as possible to do what we call counseling. Talk to them as much as possible to follow the dictates of code of conduct based on moral and social values. The code of conduct, all of you know them, living out copies. Try as much as possible to follow them. Provide protection for social groups. People should be, and when we say social groups, we are not talking about community groups, no. Where 1, 2, 3 persons are together, they form a group. Whether it's within or outside the local government council. Don't say, oh, the chairman is from so and so polo, therefore, people from the other polo are useless. No. They can be their own. Can even be 200-300 years ago. So try as much as possible to provide meeting. We should be able to go with one idea. And that idea is that it is through the combined lives, not one person. The achievability cannot change the local government alone. We need the cooperation of all. Each of us, therefore, must keep this idea constantly in mind as we honestly and selflessly devote ourselves to the continuous improvement of Asarator Local Government Council. This should be our watchword or our motto. And on the basis of this, I say thank you for your attention and God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just concluded the first lecture. Can we again put our hands together for
So you carry a
one-way traffic.
To Africa to reduce the population of Africans. We really didn't know what it was, or what the truth, what to believe. But it was such a frightening thing. Does your message reflect your person or the person of your organization? So what exactly, I'm just giving a preamble, what exactly is communication? What do we mean by that? You know, the simplest things of life are the things you know, but it's usually very difficult to define it. I don't know if you've noticed that. It's like a lawyer who said, went to a judge, when two lawyers were arguing before him, there was a case of pornography for him. And the lawyers were, this one would say, this is pornography, this one is not pornography. And they kept on and on and on. And one of the lawyers said, Judge, okay, tell us, we can't agree. Tell us what pornography is. And the judge turned and looked at them and said, "My learned colleagues, I may not be able to define pornography, but when I see pornography, I will know that it is pornography." Similarly, when you talk about communication, we all know what it is. But let me just hazard a simple definition. The process by which we transmit thought and the creation of meanings. I'll continue when the start comes. And the creation, we help them, we show them love. Chairman, do you understand what that means? We do. But don't just assume that because you do that in your culture, you can do that. So there is intercultural communication. The way people communicate in one culture can be fundamentally different from the way people communicate in another culture. So beware and be very careful. Lastly, I'm going to talk about vision. I am also aware that people develop themselves to a point where they are able to communicate with the supernatural. Let me repeat that. People develop themselves to a point where they are able to communicate with the supernatural. So for some of us who are Christians, you go to church and the pastor says, "God spoke to me, God told me." Have you heard that in your church? Yes. Now don't take that lightly. In fact, before I became Christian, when somebody says that, I'll say, "Lekwe konjuna bakwa." Did I take prayer of Kwa? And you to understand that, most of our mothers are evils. And so when we marry them and bring them, they start learning the Kalabari language. And then they mix it up with Igbo language. Lekwe is Igbo. Konju is Kalabari. Nabakwa is Igbo. Betekepere is Kalabari. So they mix it up. So I would say, God didn't speak to His Excellency Sinare Fobara. He didn't speak to Nenye. He didn't speak to the supervisory councillors. Now God will speak. That's what I used to think. But now I know better. God speaks to people. Do you know that? Yes. Now, if you don't have to be a Christian. There are people also who communicate. There are even biblical examples. When Saul the king had some problems, he needed to know what will happen in transcendental communication, where people communicate with the supernatural. Types of communication. We also have written communication. This will form the major part of what we're going to discuss in the second lecture. But let me take the non-verbal communication, which is also something that is very important. A lot of people either play down or don't understand. So in body language, there are three key parts of it. You have what we call in non-verbal communication, you have three parts of it. The first one is body language. Body language, the way a person is dressed communicates something to you. I am a Kalabari man. In fact, I pride myself in coming from Elen Kalabari. And in Elen Kalabari, we don't dress like I'm dressed now. We don't. We tie our wrapper, wear our singlets, and hold our chin stick. One hand, and probably something hot on the other hand. For those from that area, you may understand. If you're not, you may not really understand. But imagine I came for this function dressed like that. You will never believe that this is your resource person, right? Now, you were told that a professor is coming to address you, so you expect a professor to be dressed in a particular way. And I can tell you how uncomfortable I am with all these things I'm tying. I'm almost suffocating. It's not my culture, but yeah, I am. I'm a teacher. I have to dress like one, you see? Yeah. Okay? So body language, our gestures, our postures, our facial expressions are important. The example I gave to you, I turned and I saw a woman. I thought she was smiling at me, and I returned the smile. That's part of body language. If I turned and I looked at her and I thought that she was frowning at me, I would quickly take my eyes off that direction, right? Yes, of course. Our postures, facial expression. Then we have paralanguage. There is a way you communicate, and we do that with our children. You know, when you want to make them realize, the children, I don't know if you observe that with your children, you will know that they know when daddy is serious. They know when mommy is serious. They know when you are also not serious about something. When you tell them, I'll beat you, they know when you're serious about that thing. And they get that from the pitch of your voice. They do. Then, of course, when somebody sighs, shows the person is not pleased about something, or he is, or you belch. When you belch, you're either telling somebody, I'm tired, I'm hungry, whatever it is. Let's leave this and focus on distance, because I think you find that very, very beneficial. Distance. What's distance? The space between two things, or the space in communication, the space between two people. You know, when you're told that I'm married, most of us, when we got married in churches. And the pastor says, I now declare a man and wife. And the Bible clearly says that a man and wife, I don't know which one. I think it's the man that will lead his. I think it's the man that will lead his family. No, read your Bible. Read your Bible. I think it's the man that will lead them. I'm surprised somebody is saying both. Haven't you seen that when a man marries, really, his wife's family becomes even more important than his own family? Oh, yes. Yes. Anyway, so distance. So, you see, I love what Pastor Chris said. He said, when we join you, both of you, we say you have clicked together. But becoming one as husband and wife is a process that never ends until you die. That's very true. Because even between you and your husband, you and your wife, there needs to be some distance. Oh, what is this professor talking about? Yes, I mean what I've just said. You see, if you don't believe me, that's why I can tell that 90% of men seated here that I'm looking at, and maybe a smaller percentage, 60% of women, will never allow their spouse to have access to their phones, the messages they are receiving. Let me see, how many men would readily give his phone to his wife? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're good men. You're good men. Let me hope, and even my chairman, you are the special. The important thing to realize is that between you and somebody as close as your wife, why I said there needs to be a distance, because if there's no distance, you make one cardinal mistake. What is that mistake? You make the mistake, and this is also, it's not, the family is the smallest organization, this is also happening in your local government. With your boss, you make one, if you don't put that gap, distance between you make one cardinal mistake, that you understand the person, that you understand your wife or you understand your husband. I have news for you. You can never understand your husband. You can never understand your wife. Do you know why? Because even you cannot understand yourself. Because even you cannot understand yourself. I don't know, maybe there are saints around here, but I've had many occasions where I did something and I just recall and said, what? Did I do this? Or did I say this? You may have, if you've had this, just to illustrate to you that. So there is such a thing as distance, as personal distance. The distance you put between you and the closest person to you. The closest person to you may be your wife, your husband, your boss, whatever it is. There needs to be this. Then we have business distance. That is some sort of distance I expect to have in the local government. A respectable distance, a distance people, a boss keeps with the subordinate, or a subordinate keeps with the boss. And then you have social distance, the distance between society. I know many people, like there was a program we had in our church, and there was a discussion about how you treat maids in the house, health, what we call house health, how you treat them. That there should not be a difference between how you treat them and how you treat your own children. Have you heard that argument? And when you want to be politically correct, the easiest thing to say is that, of course, the best thing to do is to treat all of them equally. Isn't that? But do you know that is the most untruthful thing anybody can say, that you treat your maid as yourself? You cannot. No matter how hard you try, you cannot. In fact, if you try, you stand the risk of being criticized by society. Let me explain. If this is my daughter, I can hold my daughter. Anybody who knows that this is my daughter will not be thinking anything wrong. But I say, when you hold your house help, if she's a girl, people will say, So there needs to be society exists in strata, whichever way you look at it. And you need to understand that if you don't, you will bring the person becomes the governor of the state. Somebody may be your student, and all of a sudden the person becomes the governor of the state. And then I've heard somebody in a discussion saying that the governor is my boy. The governor is not your boy. Even if he was your student, he's not your boy. There is now a social distance between you and this individual. Whether you like it or not, it's true. Let me give you an example of my own personal experience so you appreciate how difficult this can be. Many years ago, I was the exam officer in my department, and then we were the lecturers. There was one particular man, his name is Dr. Kilbert. Some of you may remember. And he was one of the Ugodi 9 that was killed, unfortunately. Now, he got appointed commissioner, and then he left before he was able to submit his semester result. As exam officer, it was my duty to go get the results from him. They literally encouraged me. I'm usually weary of people in high offices. You forgive me because I know my background, and usually I'm very careful. So it took me some time, that someone correct, because my duty to go get the result. So I came to this secretary. As I walked in, I saw him. He just came down while I was approaching. He came down and somebody opened the car. He said, I've missed this guy today. So I was about turning to go back when the young lady ran down with a folder and file. And then he came back out from the car and looked at whatever it was, wrote something. And I thought that it was my opportunity to approach him. Remember, this is happening less than 2 months after he left the university as a lecturer. So I walked in. I didn't even assume that he would remember me. I just said, my name is Donald Hamilton. I'm the exam officer in the department. When you left, you were not able to submit the result. We know you're busy now as a state commissioner, and I can see you're going out. If you give me an appointment, I'll come back on that day to collect the results. Do you know what he said to me? He said, this is Dr. Kilbert, the commissioner, not the Dr. Kilbert, the lecturer he used to be. That's what he told me. And I lie not. That's what he told me. What smallish man? I looked at him and I was in so much shock. But I had to tell myself to just carry yourself back to where I left. So you can bring unnecessary insult to your person by not recognizing that people belong to different social classes. I'm not saying you should run away, no. I'm saying you should just recognize and respect it. we also have public distance. The distance between senior political officials, like the chairman, the commissioner, the governor, you will notice, and even the vice chancellor of the university, you will notice that they don't go anywhere without some kind of security around them. You notice that? In fact, for some of them, even their wives become security risk. There are certain places the governor will be, his wife will not be allowed to see him there. Chairman, is that true? I know it's true. I know it's true. That, but the reason why there is public distance is that a lot of public officers have lost their lives because they think they are men of the people. They elected me, so I don't have any enemy. You're able to mingle with them. Hello, you can be killed easily. You can lose your life as a result of such recklessness, because that's what I call it. So when you see the police surrounding your chairman, it may not be that they like it. I mean, that kind of a thing can be quite cumbersome for most persons, most human beings. You might find it irritating anywhere you're going. In fact, they tell you where you can go and where you cannot go. You say you want to go, say, chairman or governor, no, that way security risk, we'll have to come the air. They tell you all kinds of things. It's for their own protection. So it's important for you to understand that this distance exists. Respect it. If for nothing else, for your own good. So communication is very, very important. This is oral communication. Now, let's look at organizational communication. I talked about it earlier. You could have in organization you have two types of communication really. You have the formal communication and the informal. In the formal, you usually will talk about vertical communication or horizontal communication. Vertical communication is the communication between a boss and a subordinate. When the communication comes from the boss to the subordinate, you say it is downward. When it goes from the subordinate to the boss, you say it is upward communication. Then communication can also be horizontal. Communication between colleagues about the same level, you communicate. Then in today's world, we also have semi-vertical communication because the unions have become so important. And what they do is to the benefit of everyone. And so when people are elected to the union, the union officials are able, wherever they are in the organizational hierarchy, it's no longer important. If there are issues with the presidency, to avert strikes and all that. So when you find communication between the management of an organization and the unions, we call it semi-vertical communication. That communication is very important. Please don't stifle it in any way, because what they do when you are in leadership position, you may find it annoying, but eventually it is to the benefit of everyone. Now, in the informal communication, which is something that is not very obvious, we have rumor, we have grapevine, Rumor is usually unfounded. In any organization where you find rumors, there is some structural problem. This person, if you tell, I heard that this, that, you just keep hearing all kinds of things. Most times, rumors are untrue. Most times, rumors are untrue. However, the grapevine is the positive counterpart of rumor. Grapevines can be used by smart managers to have the pulse of the people they are leading. Management intends to downsize, and when it starts, all management is watching out for is the reaction of the people, what their reaction is going to be. Now, some of us even use it at the family level. Some of us even use it at the family level. A man has a wife, and they're very happy, and then all of a sudden, he gets contract here, gets contract there, and he gets... All right. But if you tell her, do you know I'm entitled to her? Say, of course I know now. Are you not a Calvary? In fact, I'm surprised that the children are not appearing from all corners. You know, in Calvary land, we say that you don't know how many children a man has until both legs are facing his. You tell yourself that it's like I can take a second wife. But if she said, oh, but Jesus, and she pleads the blood of Jesus, say this demon that has come in. It's the best thing for a man to have is one wife. Having one wife is enough trouble, isn't it?
Very big.
Enough wahala. In today's world, not that from the woman herself, but to keep her happy and to keep her, because she's entitled to happiness. You need to buy the cars for her, you need to buy build decent house, you buy decent clothes to have. It's a tall order for most men. And that's one of the reasons why men die fairly early, because you have so much wahala on your head. Now, if you have that and you're going to add to that, good luck. Anyway, grapevine spreads in a particular pattern, 4 patterns. Single strand. This person said, have you heard? The chairman wants to reduce staff level. The other person tells the other person. It just keeps going. That's what we call the single strand. Then the probability pattern is that you have the information, and then the next person that occurs to you, not predictable, in any predictable pattern, you come to the local government secretariat, and the first person you meet, you tell the person. That person meets some other person by chance and tells the person. That's called the probability pattern. And then the cluster pattern is you get an information, and whether you like it or not, even amongst the majority of us are from the Asarito local government. We know there are some staff who were sent from the ministry who may not be from that area. So, but even if all of us are from the local government, we come from different compounds. Some may come from Bogoma, some may come from Abonima, some. I don't think that because it's Asarito local government area, every person that works there must be from Asarito, maybe the political appointees, maybe. But even that, you have Bogoma, you have Edo, you have communities. So each of these communities can actually be clustered. So you hear something, you tell somebody from your own cluster. That cluster may be your compound or your town. And then that information spreads within that cluster. He tells another person within that cluster until it jumps from maybe one of the persons is married to, say, an Ogoni woman or the one from another place, and then he tells his wife. Then she tells her people. It jumps. It can be, rumors can spread in our way. Of course, the gossip pattern, you know what it is. One person spreads the information. There are people like that. There are gossips. Information, if you want to, it's almost like you want to eat the plate, and then you pat on the back and say, my wife, this meal was super. If you've not done it before, try it one day and see the type of joy it creates on the face of your wife. A car for me, You know my husband. Now who go buy a car for me? No me. So you buy a car for me, I know you hear something. No, that's not the attitude. It may not be a car, it may be something very simple. But a thank you may make all the difference. Now, incentives can fall in several areas. Number one is in the health area. Do we have the wellness programs? long-term care and disability insurance, health risk. Do you have such things? If you don't, it will be time to start looking at it. Because everybody gets happy if he or she learns from the works. Not just us, but we all will necessarily need to work and earn a living. And the organizations that employ us will usually have their own rules of conduct. The local government, I'm sure, has a way that's prescribed for you to conduct your life. But you see, concerning the matter of communication, when you are in doubt as to what to say to the next person may be your wife, the next person may be your subordinate, the next person may be your boss, or whoever that is, you need to be able to ask a few questions. You need to know the message you are about to pass on to the other person. Is it true? I mean, today we live in an age, an internet age, where it is increasingly difficult when you see something on television to know whether it is true or not true. I saw a video of the Pope dancing. I don't know, some of you may have seen it. I've seen a video of the US President, Joe Biden, saying that he's resigning and his deputy should take over. All kinds of things. Today we talk of artificial intelligence, aided communication. You can do anything and place it on it. So, but we need to be mindful. Just to remind you, and I don't know if you know that, if you don't, just to remind you, the internet does not forget. How many of us realize that? The internet does not forget. At the time you're doing something, it may not mean anything to you. You put up a message there, and then one day you want to be chairman of a local government or governor of a state or president of a country. And you'll be reminded that there was a time he said something like this. And you start struggling to undo what you have done. And usually you won't have success. Is the message true? Does it exaggerate? Your message, does it withhold or obscure information? Does it promise? The message you're giving out, does it promise something that you cannot deliver? I have my sons and daughters who are politicians who are in the house. This is typical in the profession where you belong. And, well, not just to you, a lot of us, especially the men, and looking at your age bracket, I think 80% of us here are married. Are we? Yes. I don't know. Can you remember? Can you remember what you told your wife? And she agreed to marry you. Can anybody remember that? Yes. I told my own wife that because her father is far, far, far richer than my own father. You know, she was conveyed in a 244 Volvo 244 GLE. How many persons know that car? In its time, it was one of the car to be in. That's the kind of car that took her to school. My father managed to have a white horse bicycle. You know, in China, you know China. In China. Yes. So my own, I told her that look, don't look at my background. Don't look at my background. But you see, if you marry me, the type of house I will build for you will not have foundation. It will be floating on the air. All right. Seriously. So does the message you give out, does it promise something you cannot deliver? Does it betray confidence? Does it play unduly on the fears of people?